Hey, welcome back to the High Kicks podcast. We got a special guest on this week's episode. Kyle from Inside the 90 is his podcast. From 90 Apparel is his brand. Joins the show. I was on Kyle's show. What was that now? 2 weeks ago, talking about some iconic jerseys. It was a hell of a time. We're hoping we're gonna have a great time. Carl, is there something that you would like to say that you have not done yet? What are you?
I have a stupid ass clock and it just went off, so that is the only reason why. Okay, I did just.
Your
speak.
mic
I wanted to
doesn't
do
pick that up.
I thought it does.
No.
Oh, I'm an idiot. But yeah, finger guns as always, and I wanted to do sort of fucking like the Spider-Man finger guns towards Kyle because my name's Carl. So yeah.
Yeah, Kyle, for reference, Carl does finger guns before every single episode. And it's been like
That I've been on.
2.5 years. And he's never forgotten.
And Brian always tries to call me out for it. And I'm sitting here like, bro, like even if you can't physically see it, I'm still doing it. Sorry. But yeah, we digress.
Yeah. So just a little background before I throw this off to Kyle to give his kind of own introduction. I think it worked out, Kyle. You reached out to me on Instagram, right? And we just kind of got a dialogue going and started talking back and forth. And we had like a get to know you call that I'm pretty sure we were assuming was going to be about an hour. And we were talking for close to 3. Yeah, Kyle's a really chill dude. Got a really great show, got a really cool brand. And I'm just going to throw this over to Kyle so he can tell you about himself a hell of a lot better than I just did.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Appreciate for having me. My name's Kyle. I'm the host and creator of Inside the 90 podcast. We've had Brian on the show before, had a blast. We talked about classic and iconic jerseys, whether it's, Coors Light was on a Liverpool jersey back in the day. I know some of the guys found the Colorado Caribou jersey that has the phrase.
That is
By the way,
it is still the worst kit I have ever seen in my entire life.
I want it just to say I have it. So those, and then we had like,
which of your friends was it that had the exact opposite taste in jerseys that I did? Kenny? Oh, Kenan. Yeah.
Kenan.
Yeah,
Kenny.
Yeah.
Bro, I've never seen that fucking jersey. I just pulled it.
Was a great time.
What the fuck?
Isn't that awesome?
Bro, what?
That is awesome.
I need some like...
Yeah, so we have it on our show. Go out and listen. It's a great episode, and we'll probably do another one here. We talked about the classic, I think AC Milan jersey was on there. The Arsenal, the classic Arsenal jersey. I believe it's the O2 jersey that's on there. Yeah, the O2 which is a beautiful jersey, very very clean. I think it was the dark red, almost maroon jersey that was on there with the gold border. Gorgeous jersey. I'm not saying that as an Arsenal fan too, but also I'm also the owner, CEO, big chief, whatever of of 90 brand. It's a soccer apparel brand that I started, and pretty much it's about soccer lifestyle and culture and stuff like that. And the podcast is on the website as well, so check it out. It's 90apparel dot shop. Love to talk to you. Let's do this.
So
but before we keep on going, literally the Colorado Caribou like jersey, I just imagine with assless chaps. Like that's the only way I would be able to wear that.
So like,
but let's get into it.
Hold on. So like,
okay.
The Jew in me, because I am Jewish, kind of pictured like a built-in talus with the. I'm sorry if that's messed up, but like when I saw it, that's the first thing I thought. Like with the tassels and the yeah. But we got some.
All right.
we got a couple Prem topics. One kind of outside Prem topic that could slide us kind of into some Prem, and then I stole an idea from Kyle that he wanted to do with me, so we're doing it on my show instead of his. So let's jump right into it. So first off, starting, you guys think Erling Haaland is human, or do you think the Terminator movie is real and he got sent back in time to play football?
I don't want to call him the Terminator because he shows more emotion than
Arnold.
the Terminator would have. But we are in the making of the next Messi Ronaldo narrative to the realest degree possible with Mbappe and Haaland. And I'm just ecstatic to see this kind of situation because Haaland, especially the way that he's been playing, you've really been able to see more use of him. We've talked about earlier in the season how he isn't being used to his fullest potential, and we're starting to see more and more of that as the season has progressed. So just seeing what Haaland truly is as a footballer rather than just a goal scorer is amazing to watch. And the development that he has gone through, of course, we got to see it partially on Dortmund because that was his first larger club. But when this moved to City, he was doing everything even before he had like full reign, and he's starting to get that full reign. And oh my God, like I just don't, yeah. You guys can say something too.
I think, yeah. So so here's my thing with Haaland is that it's kind of interesting. Manchester City for the last couple of seasons, historically, it's maybe 5 seasons have played with the false 9 versus a
Yes.
true striker. Right. So it's interesting seeing how Haaland, who is an out and out striker, how he fills that role. And we see he started off with a bang. I think it was it 21, 22 goals
Yeah.
outright, something like that.
In his
He
first
had
like
3
8
hat
games.
tricks,
Yeah.
back to back, I think. Right. So, and we saw a huge drop off. Was it the right after the World Cup ish, give or take 1 or 2 games, where he kind of stopped? And granted, that's kind of the point to, Kevin De Bruyne hasn't had the best year either,
Yes.
right? Some of these games he's not even starting. So you got a guy who's a legendary assister. And some people make the argument of who's the actual best attacking midfielder
I just need
in
to
the
point
league
out that you
as
say
we
Kevin De
speak.
Bruyne is having a down year where he's still leading the Premier League in assists.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I was going to go out besides not my bias of being an Arsenal fan, I would say Odegaard is probably my number one personally as a player because I think him and, and Holland, something with some rumor going around that he might be injured during the international break, that Holland, I think, would do better, maybe better with Odegaard just because of how they play together. I think, and I think that if Holland had maybe he had a little bit more time to adjust towards a true striker position versus the false 9 of what Manchester City plays, I think he would be just. It wouldn't be fair.
Like I don't know if it's Odegaard or if it's. I think he would better suit that Arsenal system to a degree. I think the Arsenal system, so at City, and this is just kind of a throwback to what we've been talking about off and on for the last couple of weeks, when Jamie Carragher said that they're only getting like 60% of him in what he's doing now. I think another system that is more counter-attacking, more end-to-end, not just like possession, pass it around and serve the ball would suit him better. I do think the connection with Odegaard from national team and everything would help, but I kind of just think a more fast-paced, aggressive system suits him better. And
we're
talking about this while he's on 28 goals, and he's
on track to break the record. He's breaking the record. Let's just put it as it is.
We're talking about the most prolific goal scoring season we've ever seen in the Premier League, and we're saying how could it be better? That's how good
he is.
In
his debut season, by the way.
Yeah.
And so I disagree in terms of the Arsenal point just because of like the development of Saka and Martinelli. I think it would really
put Haaland up front instead of Jesus.
Yeah, obviously, but like, bro, that's gonna that's
I
taking a
don't think it's
lot away
done.
from Saka.
I don't think so. I think it'll allow Saka could cut inside a little bit more because Holland's also capable of playing on the outside, and he
Okay,
doesn't at City. So I'm more talking about
that's true.
seeing the Dortmund Holland where he played more along that front line than just as your center man.
Yeah, because I understand what you're saying. Because Sancho and whoever they ended up having at the other wing at any point in time, they play more of a forward role rather than playing a traditional winger role. So it was really
Yes.
interchangeable in terms of that, and you were able to put a lot of pressure on. I just think in terms of development of like overall skill and such, the way that Saka is able to be able to take on people the same way and not always look for a pass and do situations like that. Of course, Holland is a better distraction, but I think it just sort of is a different sort of sphere because Holland still needs the ball to be the best Holland. And we've started to see that more and more with this City side. But what I really want to talk about is the counter-attacking presence that you were talking about, because that's where I can really see him like thriving beyond any stretch of the imagination. Um, he works best in that style where he's able to get back and forth. I really like the Odegaard comparison for his style of play specifically for that, because Odegaard is also a similar player like that. He's able to get back and forth up on the pitch. When you see Bruno, when you see KDB, these are players who tend to stay forward within their side, and that is their role. Of course, KDB was better at it when he was younger, but as age has caught up with him, sorry, yes, KDB has gotten older, but he's still one of those amazing presences on the pitch. So the counter attacking style fits Haaland's game plan more of the Arsenal system. I just think like it would have probably adversely affected other players on the pitch indirectly.
I still disagree. Sancho looked better with Holland than he has been without Holland. I think he would further the development of the wingers at Arsenal. I don't think he would stunt them at all.
Interesting. Yeah.
But Arsenal fan, what are your thoughts on that?
So we'll get into the Arsenal stuff, but I think it's interesting with Holland because he, I'm kind of curious on Pep being such a genius at the game. I'm kind of curious if he would experiment with dropping Holland into
I
the
would like
false
that.
nine.
It would be so. I think it'd
But
be so deadly.
what would
I
look
think
what
it'd
would
be
that look
so
like, dude?
deadly.
Right, but that's what I'm saying though. You're having an out and out striker drop into a false nine, which he doesn't, you know, granted if fans don't know the difference between an out and out striker versus a false
Yes.
nine, please look it up because they're
And it's
vastly
a
different.
lot to explain.
Right, your false nine typically plays more into the midfield versus out and out strikers that play against the back line or
Perfect
your back three,
example
your
to
back four.
describe this:
So
Lewandowski versus Benzema. Like if we're just talking about player comparison.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm kind of curious on right, if Pep would ever experiment with dropping Holland into a false nine. But you kind of would think, well, like, okay, well, what would you do with KDB? Would you drop him farther up, or would you put him as a 1-and-1 with Holland up front? So I'm kind of curious on how he would do it. It's not like they're
Yes.
hurting for goals.
No, but they are
Um,
hurting
I think
from
they're
others.
hurting for goals. I think they're hurting for
Yeah,
goals from other
because
people, right? And this is where we'll get into the
Arsenal's
Arsenal
goal totals are
conversation.
very spread out. But City have scored about the same amount of goals this season as they did last season. But Holland has 28 of them instead of it being more spread out. But I
Yes.
think this is a really good time to slide over to the Arsenal discussion and focus a little bit more on them because I threw this topic in here because I just really want to know Kyle's opinion on it. Do we think Arsenal's going to hold on? Do we think they're going to hold on to the title? Do we think they're going to get that Premier League trophy?
So first Premier League team, first Premier League trophy. I think it's
Yeah.
19 years.
I think so.
I think that's what it was. Obviously they got the most FA Cups and some other crap. But and a lot of people were getting mad because oh yeah, we want the double, right? You want the double. All right, cool. Right, right. We got to think about it. City didn't play
Yeah.
this past weekend, right? Which gave Arsenal the mental advantage of being 8 points ahead going into
Yeah.
the last international break, right? Right? City have a game in hand, of course, but it's the mentality of having
Exactly.
8 points gap, right? That's what 3
Yeah.
games, 2.5 games, So my thing is that we just talked about it. I think Arsenal's mid-season transfer was freaking
Yep.
brilliant, right? They brought in Jorginho, which is an out and out winner, right? There's no doubts about that. Trossard, who is
I
such a fun player
personally
to
believe
watch,
we talked about this last
right?
week.
And
I think Mudryk might have been a smokescreen because, like, honestly, with the way
yeah,
Trossard's playing, and he fits into their system so well, and they put in their interest for Mudryk. They said they wanted him. They knew another high bidder was going to come, and then they swooped in and got a guy that probably
Trossard.
fits their system better anyway.
interesting.
Oh, without a doubt.
You think they would have? You think they did that just to throw shade at Chelsea? So that's interesting. But I think like Trossard has been in since the World Cup break, right? And he
Yeah.
has
Is
8
it
assists,
9? Is it
right?
9
He had a
now?
double the other week. Live
okay.
table says 8. So, and the only people above him are his counterpart, Bukayo Saka and KDB, right? So, I think that where Arsenal shines is that they have shared
Yes.
goals, right? Versus City, who have one
If you
out
can
and out
pocket Haaland, you
scorer,
can beat City.
right?
But to beat Arsenal, you have to pocket their entire front line.
I was just about to say if you, yep. And I think that City players are a little bit more
Yes.
selfish.
100%.
I think. Like Mahrez, I used to love watching Mahrez play. Now I can't stand watching him play. Right? Grealish, I absolutely loved Grealish, and like we already talked, and this was kind of in the pre-show where we talked about having like Grealish wasn't even on the English team until he made his transfer to City. Right? So a lot of people don't know that. So I'm about to get political here in the soccer world, right? But and that's the thing is that Grealish is such a fun player to watch, but man, is he annoying when he falls on the ground all the time. It's so,
Yeah.
just play, dude. And I think that's where Arsenal is better because they just watching them play is just so fun.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. And
It's stunning.
Odegaard, I absolutely
Watching
love
them
Odegaard.
play and watching them score like at will against Palace on Sunday was
my favorite goal by them by far is the Liverpool 2-minute goal against Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Yep.
Oh,
Arsenal
yeah.
picked him apart
Yep.
within
Yep.
I think it was a minute and a half. It was absolutely stunning.
Is that actually your favorite goal, or are you just saying that to
goal.
fuck with me?
I absolutely love it. No, it's actually just one of my favorite goals because it was off a keeper clearance, I think, and Arsenal got it on the transition and just ran it down the center, and Odegaard put a through ball. Alexander Arnold couldn't see his feet. He was so lost in the sauce, and Martinelli beat him on the corner. Far post,
Beautiful finish.
and it was a good game. And Liverpool to their credit, they did put up a fight. And I think that I think if Arsenal's going to have a problem, which it is a problem now, but it hasn't really shown, is going to be depth, right? And they kind of held that a little bit with Rob Holding coming into the center back position, who's been a great team player. Gabriel and
Saliba coming back
are probably the two best center back pairings in the entire. Probably the best two center back pairings in the EPL at the moment. I think Ramsdale is a fantastic keeper. His distribution from the back is ridiculous. He had a
oh my god, are you talking about the one to Saka? The one up the left side that
it was a cross.
Yeah.
It was a cross
that
field
hit
switch.
Saka in stride,
on
and the ball probably traveled like 70 yards in the air.
It was. I almost paused it because I was like
flabbergasted. Like as a keeper watching something like that, you're just like,
The only player who used to do that was fucking Neuer.
If he,
And like nowadays, like I've loved Ramsdale's style of play and like his development specifically this season, because like I personally think if he would have been put into more situations, specifically in like the World Cup, we may have seen it slightly sooner. Like he would have peaked crazier.
you know what? And yeah, and you know what? I'm a
Yeah.
Jordan Pickford fan, but
No, he's got to
Everton has
go.
not helped him
He's got to
whatsoever.
go.
He should have left a long time ago. He should have left a long time ago because I think he's just getting on the English team just because he's Jordan Pickford and he's been their number one for
A
a
fucking
handful of
stupid amount of
tourneys.
time at this point.
So Ramsdale, yeah, Ramsdale should be number one in my opinion. I think that and the rotation is going to be good, and I think and I was kind of alluding to this before. It's a blessing in disguise that they're not
Yeah.
playing in Europe this
Yup.
year, and they fell out of the European
Yeah.
trophies. Because now they only focus on weekends versus
That's what
playing
I
on
was saying
Thursday
about
and
Liverpool
Sunday.
and their fight for top 4. I think being out of the Champions League is better. And when Arsenal lost, it sucks. You're not in Europe, but you got knocked out of the Europa League. It's not the Champions League. And you now can put everything you have into winning this Premier League title. And if you don't
Yes.
have the depth that a team like City has, you're not playing as many games.
And also the main issue with this Arsenal side has been a lot of injuries. It has not been always a lack of depth, because when you look at center backs, they have a lot of center backs. When you look at goalkeepers, they do have a backup keeper who's mid. They do have a lot of midfielders. They have availability on the wing. They have these things, but actually being able to have them consistently has been a major issue for this side throughout the season, just because of injury and other detriment to the team.
Yeah, and they had a good rotation too. Like I think they to get a good rotation like this past weekend, they moved Thomas Partey into a
Yeah.
right back slot. And he's a defensive mid, right?
He's a fucking dog, by the way.
And
Yeah, he's fucking.
he did a double Cruyff like 2 weekends ago, a double Cruyff on 2 players, and I was like, you would never see that from a defensive midfielder, like, and it was just he's a great player to watch too, and I think that because the Arsenal were smart in the window and they went after Jorginho, and to kind of give Partey kind of a breather
Same with
sometimes.
Xhaka.
And
Xhaka
Jorginho
has been totally reborn.
Yeah, Xhaka.
He has
Xhaka
gone
has
from
been amazing.
He's gone
Reborn,
from being
100%.
booed off of the pitch by supporters.
I watched that game when he got booed and he clapped to the fans and threw off the captain
now
badge. I watched that game.
They love him, and his passion and his negative aggression has turned into positive passion, and the whole team rallies behind his emotion, and it's incredible.
Yes.
And I think that's something that Arsenal has literally brought so much, like Zinchenko, who's the Ukrainian captain,
Hell of a signing.
who's their their outside back. I think he's on the left.
Yeah,
left
he
side.
plays left side.
He's a left back.
He can play either, by the way.
Yeah, he could play anywhere. I think along either. flank.
So
I think he could be a fullback, midfielder, winger on either side.
So he plays defensive mid for Ukraine, and I think how Arsenal use him and bring him into, shall we say, a false defensive midfielder is.
Would you call that a false
tactical genius? Because then you throw your midfielders forward, and you pretty much bring your squares and your triangles into.
I would say more of a false
slot,
3,
and then you just run 3 back on the line. Yes, essentially, and then so they just rotate then, and then Kieran Tierney, when he comes on the field, fills that role as well. So, Arteta is genius. You're starting to see how much Pep, molded him, and I think as long as Arsenal, they got a few games that, they got to face, they got to go to, we got Liverpool.
Are you really scared about that though?
They got to face the Bash
Are you really
brothers.
scared about Liverpool?
You never know fucking what Liverpool shows up. Shut up. I dealt with it.
I love triggering you, Carl.
Fuck you. Keep it moving. Sorry, Kyle.
So I think I'm more on the lines of I'd be more wary of Liverpool than I would
Yes,
be Chelsea.
100%.
I'd be more
Because
weary of
Liverpool's kind of been on a
Brentford than I would be
resurgent the last
Chelsea.
handful of games. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff that I've been seeing, a lot of the stuff that I've been seeing says that West Ham, right? Everyone knows that relegation teams, yeah, some days they don't put up fights, and there's other days
Yeah.
when they're fighting for their life and they put up
Like when
like
Everton beat
wrestling the
you.
biggest fish. So, you know,
Bro, you lost to
Yeah.
Bournemouth. Shut up.
I'm
and
just
that
saying
was,
that's an example of
I,
same
I, I
thing.
know.
So-
I just like roasting you. Fuck you.
well, they're
7.
claiming they're claiming the Everton game as being the the new manager recoil. I think Brighton would
Yeah, I
be a
think
really
that'd be
good
excellent.
game.
Oh, without a doubt.
It'd be kind of interesting to see how Arsenal. I think Arsenal with Chelsea, another. By the way, and this is a stat. I'm not a big stat guy, but I think there's 9 London derbies this season for Arsenal.
No,
and
I
they've
think
won
there's
8
10
total so
maybe, and
far.
they've already won 9.
So maybe there's 10. They played 9 and they've won 8.
I think
I
they've
think that's the
won
stat
9.
then. So
I don't know the stats, so I'm sitting here confused.
I mean they.
Crystal
Crystal Palace
Palace.
is a derby, and they won that game. So
Hold up.
But no, that's the main thing. This Arsenal side, like,
Spurs.
I feel like what ends up happening at the end of the season is
West
a
Ham.
lot based on availability. Because if they have available lineups, they're top of the Prem without a doubt in my mind. And they deserve to be there. But then when we see some of these games, it depends if there's a knock or something in a certain specific position for them. If they have these knocks, they're very good at filling those roles in. But you don't want to have to fill roles in when you're playing a Chelsea, when you're playing a Liverpool, when you're playing a Brighton. So it's really going to be a tale of how health plays into form.
I think too, something that people should kind of keep in mind is that so City had to play Liverpool on the first.
Hold up. Arsenal are
That's gonna be a
9
big game.
for 10 on London derbies with a draw to Brentford. Yeah.
So undefeated. So that's crazy, right? So
Yep.
and we played Brentford again, right?
Yeah.
I think so. So yeah, like I was saying, so City had to play Liverpool. Not to mention that they're still in the Champions League and they're still in the FA Cup. So a lot of people say, "Oh, it's Arsenal's to lose." Like what? Like I think the fact that Arsenal are 8 points clear right now and City are still in Champions League and still in the FA Cup, and we're in the international break. You have to favor
No, you're in
Arsenal.
a very
Let's
good
be fair.
position.
I agree. I view as it's Arsenal's to lose as a City's not going to take this title from Arsenal. Arsenal's going to, if Arsenal doesn't win it, it will be them losing the title. And I don't think it will be City taking it, if that makes sense.
So here's another conversation for you is that if you're Arsenal, right? And of course you don't want your competitors to do better than you, right? If you're Arsenal, you want City to play more games.
Mm-hmm.
Tactically speaking, do you want them to maybe win the FA Cup or win the Champions League?
You want them to get to the final and lose both?
But do you want them to maybe get to the finals? Yeah, because you get to the finals, you got to play. Well, they got to play Sheffield for the FA Cup, and they got to play Bayern twice.
By the way, throwing this back to our talk about pocketing Haaland, I think Delight might be able to, or Delict.
With Upamecano and all the other, like, they have Cancelo, they have... We'll talk about that when it's actually more close.
That was just a bit of an interjection, but I agree, Kyle. I think this is Arsenal's title. I think...
And it's not... And like we're saying, like, with Haaland pretty much playing as a true striker, out-and-out striker, the way that Arsenal's defense has been this year with Saliba and Gabriel... they'll put
Yeah.
Haaland in his pocket. Haaland, I'm not taking anything away from Haaland, but Haaland didn't do much when Arsenal and
Yep.
City played in the first time, earlier in the season, right?
Saliba has been on one as
So
well. So if we're talking about like best center backs within the Premier League and within the world right now, he should be in the conversation, which is crazy to think that Arsenal loaned him out last season and then got him back. But it's just like, this man has been different this
and
season, and I could totally see them doing that to Haaland. I have one question because I
and
feel like we've said our piece about Arsenal at this point, but I saw people asking fans outside of the stadium, would you rather win the title this year or have to lose Saka?
well, first of all, um, Arsenal's business. To answer your question, Arsenal's business transfer business has been great.
Yes.
Their loanees have been doing
Yes.
solid, right? Loanees have been doing great. Don't remember his name, but what's his name? He plays in the French league. Has scored 12 for 15 in his goals. The young kid
Oh
striker. I forgot his
yeah,
name.
Jesus Christ, I'm having such a brain fart.
He
Carl,
plays
look it up.
for
Try and pronounce it.
yeah. He plays not
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
he did-
Kyle.
Oh,
For
Balogun.
you
Yeah, it's
said it for
Balogun.
reference.
Thank God.
Carl can't pronounce names. Carl, say Victor Osimhen.
Usman Dembele. All right, let's keep it going.
Literally, Kyle. Every single time he says Usman instead of
So
Osimhen.
I
So funny.
so I think the only player arguably that has done better than Saliba is Lewis Dunk,
Yes.
right? And for Brighton, right? And Lewis Dunk is especially last. We can argue probably 2 years. Lewis Dunk has been great, and that was another huge argument that Lewis Dunk isn't
Yeah.
in the English team.
Yeah.
Like what? And that was crazy. So I think like what was your
Are you
question?
taking the title this year or are you taking
I'm just
Saka
all
this
wound
year
up.
or Saka leaving? Like to win the title or Saka long term?
So Saka right now, the what I saw last time I looked at it, Saka's
Yeah.
currently worth over 100
He's
million.
worth 110.
And he just signed his new contract. 110.
It,
Okay,
it's
there
a
you
very
go. So
hypothetical though,
110.
because they were like, "All right, would you win this year, or
Yeah, no,
would you give him away like to win?"
with the fact that we can recall Balogun, the fact that Trossard stepped in, we have a good rotation. Uh, you know,
Yeah.
Martinelli's playing great. Odegaard's playing great. You have a good, solid rotation, and Gabriel Jesus is coming back. Smith Rowe is health again. I checked the
Wow,
Prem.
you are the only person of the interview that actually said that. Everyone
So
else said that they would rather have Saka long term.
What's the point? What's the point of losing Saka if you're not going to win
Well,
the Prem?
you would be able to keep keep
Why
Saka and lose the Prem, and then see if you could run it back next
and
year,
get Champions League?
or you.
So I'm gonna
But then
I'm
all I
gonna
get is
Yeah,
I'm
Champions
gonna
League, and I have a
I'm gonna
trophy.
pop
And I have a
myself
trophy this season.
into whatever of this is a stupid ass question. This is a
yes,
question that should have been asked maybe a year and a half ago of would you
yes.
rather lose Saka or let this run out and see where Arteta gets the team? Because the phrasing of the question that you just asked, Carl, is fucking idiotic. Because there's
Well,
no chance Saka leaves at this point. He's
yeah,
on
that's why it's one of those stupid.
a young rising team that does
Yes,
excellent business where he's like the centerpiece.
he
Um,
is the centerpiece.
I,
Yes,
I, I know
He's 21.
it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, but I want to slide this conversation into I said nunger instead of another, um, into another young player across Europe that has a lot of drama surrounding him right now, and that is Barcelona's starlet Gavi. So, for anybody at home who doesn't know, Gavi signed a new contract with Barcelona um, off of his academy player deal into a full professional player contract. La Liga denied this deal and said that it could not go through based on Barcelona's wage structure. Barcelona appealed, and today, the Spanish court or whatever it was, basically sided with the league and said that the deal can't go through. He can't be registered as an official first team player. He's still on his academy deal. He has to lose his number 6 shirt and go back to his other shirt. And there's serious doubt over Gavi's future in Barcelona now.
Yes.
Because if they can't register him as a full-time player, he can leave as a free agent this summer.
And he's getting picked up by anyone in the world. Let's not get it fucking twisted. This kid's like one of those. Like, yeah, no shit. He is going into the Prem, into Real Madrid, into PSG.
Oh, he's not going. He wouldn't go to Real Madrid. He absolutely wouldn't go to Real Madrid.
Obviously, but what I'm saying is he's going to a top side within Europe. Like, without a doubt in my mind, he is going to get picked up. Oh yeah. Dude, look at Man U. No shit, I would fucking take Gavi. Look at Arsenal. They would take fucking Gavi. Like,
Kyle, would you take Gavi?
So, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a La Liga fan, and I absolutely loathe Barcelona. Right.
Okay.
So, and during the World Cup, I was like, "Who the hell is this kid?" Anyways, and Barcelona calls him the $200 million problem. That's what they call him.
Yeah,
that's what the headline is. Right. So
he's not the 200 million. It's their wage structure, I think, is part of the 200 million problem.
Yeah.
It's not.
So okay. So let me ask you this then. So La Liga has been on the ass of Barcelona probably the last few years, since Barcelona technically is the most valuable club in the world, yet they're bankrupt. I don't know how that works, but whatever. So but you would think with all of Barcelona's problems, right, and the constant purchasing of players, right, they couldn't even register half their players like the day before the season started this year, right? The whole thing with Aubameyang coming back when he left Arsenal, the whole thing with Lewandowski and a handful of other players, right? You would think that him being worth 200 million, that would solve a lot of their problems. Yet, if they sign him, who was it? There was someone that I think it was under Barcelona, because they're known for ridiculous things like this. They signed him to a $1 billion release clause.
You say so, Kyle. You say you don't watch La Liga. Are you familiar with the La Liga contract bylaws? So in La Liga, every single player needs to have a release clause in their contract. It is a league rule. Yeah. So Barcelona inserts these, and Real Madrid inserts these €1 billion release clauses. So no club can just come in and pay the release clause and take their player. So like, it's not, when you look at those €1 billion release clauses in La Liga, it's basically the workaround. It's the loophole of, you don't want to put a release clause in the contract, but the league rules say you have to.
Yeah.
So
you value them way too high, so that no one would be able to even dream of thinking to fucking get them.
Sure. Well, that's why you see a lot of players go to Spain. You don't see a lot of players necessarily leave unless they're on the the backside of their contract, right? Historically speaking, right? And I don't understand La Liga's big beef with Barcelona in the first place. You don't see it with Real Madrid too much. You don't see it with Atletico and some of these other teams, right? But La Liga and Barca don't get along. And I think the whole thing with the Super League kind of added fuel to the fire as well, and rightfully so. Barcelona and some of these, I think Juventus was one of the other teams.
Barca, Juve, Real, the Premier League Big Six,
and the whole new evolution of the Champions League that they've been talking about.
I actually
Super League. Right? It's all for Barcelona to get more money.
Like
I know we talked about that.
Super League format, the nobody automatic entry, the promotion relegation. I like that better than the new Champions League format.
But what's the problem with Gavi though? Why is it that he has to sign a pro contract versus an amateur or I don't know what do they call
Academy
it, a
deal.
minor league deal
So
or
the
his,
issue
his amateur deal?
the issue is he's
His
18.
academy deal. So
he's 18.
what's the problem? So
His contract is running out. They can't really sign him. I mean, he's not gonna sign, I don't think, a deal that's gonna pay him dog shit. I think at this point he wants a contract that pays him to some degree of the value of the player. And Barcelona can't, with their current wage bill and wage structure, they're unable to register him.
Mhm.
So, but his
Right,
contract
but is he so he can't play? He
so
can't
he can
play
play as an academy player. No, he
first team.
can. But the issue is that
Not academy.
yeah, no, you
first
can call
team.
up an academy player to the first team. The
Yeah.
issue at hand here isn't that he can't currently play for Barcelona. It's that he signed a contract extension until 2026, and that contract has been blocked. And if he's not registered as a first team player by June 30th with a new contract, he's a free agent. So
Yep, I saw
that is the
okay.
big deal, because very, very rarely do you see a 17, 18-year-old who's this good with the ability
Specifically
to leave.
out of like the Barca academies or the Real Madrid academies and like academies like this. Like it's very often that you're able to see a talent like this actually leave that home club. So like the main thing is that if they're able to figure out wages in some way, shape, or form, yeah, they're able to keep him. But that's the main issue. If he goes to free agency, you have no clue what the fuck is going to happen, because everyone in the world is bidding on this guy. Like everyone in the world is hitting up this man, no matter the case, and just offering some sort of money. Newcastle's going to offer him like 100 million, like minimum. Like it.
I didn't even think about
Yeah,
Newcastle.
like
so
that's
so
what I'm
just to
talking about.
clarify,
It's weird.
the issue at hand isn't him being signed to the new contract or him being an academy player and not being able to play for Barca. The issue is that if he's not signed to a new contract, he's a free agent. And if Barcelona can't sign him, we have literally last year's golden boy without a club, which is unheard of.
And we aren't saying he won't get signed, because we obviously just said that like previously. It's just the fact that Barca will have to let him go.
Yes.
Which is dumbfounding. Like for Barcelona, who had Iniesta, who had Xavi, like honestly,
I mean, the Gavi Pedri pairing has been talked about as the next Iniesta Xavi pairing.
Exactly. I'd get rid of fucking Rafinha in order to make some fucking room. Like I
But like
I would
Kyle,
figure
for
something
reference,
out.
like if you don't watch this kid, watch this kid. He's excellent.
I was hesitant on him too at first, until I really got to see him with the Spanish side, especially when Pedri like was out with little knocks here and there. This kid's different.
Yeah, so I got so much crap for this. I don't understand the argument with this is a whole nother conversation, but our Barcelona, I don't understand the whole Barcelona thing, right? The most valuable club in the world, yet they're broke as hell, right? They're essentially poor. Yet they're the most valuable club in the world. They were sponsored for the longest time by a nonprofit. I don't know how that works. So, granted, this is more into the sports politics of things, right? They have all these players, yet they can't sign half of them to first team deals, right? The whole thing with Rafinha, everyone knew in the summer that Rafinha was either going to go to Arsenal or Barca, right? There was onesie twosies in there too, right? But everyone knew that he wanted to go to Barca. Barca couldn't even sign him to a first team deal up until a couple of days before the league started, or
Yeah.
the ending or whatever, right? They had the same stuff with,
Yeah.
Lewandowski and
Barca's
Aubameyang, like we
number
talked
2
about, who came in on the scene. Like,
in
can you
value,
imagine?
according to
Think about
Statista.
this. Think about this. You have Pedri, right? You have Gavi. You have Lewandowski. You had Aubameyang. You had Rafinha, right? How are you running into so many problems? It just baffles me. And this is what I don't understand about the Spanish league is that I know all the leagues
Yeah.
are managed different, which is weird. Yet all the leagues compete against each other. So why does the Spanish league, why does La Liga give Barcelona so much crap? Right?
50
We know in
plus 1.
Germany there's what was it, the 51, the 50 plus
Yeah.
1 rule, right? Right? So you don't
I
see that in
wish you
other
did.
leagues. We saw the whole thing with, with Serie A coming
Yeah.
down on Juventus, right? We just heard about all the crap that
Yeah.
City might be under, right? They
Mhm.
might even get
Yeah.
relegated, right? So what's the whole deal with Barcelona and La Liga? I think there's more to that conversation, and I know a lot of it
I
comes
think it's
down to
also
the whole,
because during COVID, I
we're
think La Liga changed their salary structure and they changed some league
mm,
rules in terms of player wages. So that screwed Barca hard because back to when you said Barca are known for giving players crazy release clauses, and I explained the whole La Liga thing, Barca are also known for giving players ridiculously high wages. And when you
Yes.
have players on ridiculous
yeah, their front management is
Yes.
absolutely
Yes.
terrible.
When you give players ridiculously high wages and then you go through a pandemic and your club loses a fuck ton of money,
Yeah.
you hit problems. Be-
Was it Frankie
yeah,
De
Yeah.
Jong, right? Frankie De Jong had a terrible contract
yeah.
as well.
Yep.
His whole thing.
But this Gavi thing, I mean, not to compare it to losing Messi for the same reasons, but it's the opposite end of the spectrum. Your financial issues cause you to lose the best player in the history of your club, and now your
Yeah.
financial issues are causing you to lose an up and coming incredible midfielder that you also developed. And
Yeah.
it's something that hits the older players, the younger players, and it's fucking screwing Barca up. It's bad.
It's the craziest thing because like we primarily first started hearing about this stuff with like the Messi issue a few years ago. Like because before that it was more hush hush in regards to like everything in terms of the financial fair play in terms of Barcelona. But then we ended up seeing a lot in terms of Messi like skipping out on taxes and stuff on like his own personal account, and then it really started delving deeper into the issues that lied within Barcelona as a squad as a whole. So I
Yep.
completely understand what you were trying to bring up, Kyle, in terms of like how the hell Barcelona is even in this position in the first place if they are still quoted to be that like valuable at the end of the day, because genuinely they've had this issue for
Yeah,
fucking almost a decade now.
yeah. And this is what I don't understand about Barcelona, and this might be a whole nother show, on my side or
Or
on your
together.
side too. Is that this just blows my mind with the whole thing with Messi, right?
Too.
Messi's been away
Yes.
for
This is his
what was it,
second year
3 years
out.
now? 2? Okay. Okay. So Messi, right? He was on a big
Yeah.
contract, and rightfully so, right? We all know who he was, but at that time, he never won a World Cup, and before, was it Copa America? He's never won an international
And he
trophy,
hadn't won a
right?
Champions
So
League since 2015. Or
you
still
know,
hasn't won a Champions League since like 2015.
yeah, yeah. So exactly. So he was right. So, uh, so here's the thing, though, is that Messi, who is Messi, and is not going to take anything away from soccer Jesus, right? But he he at that time he wasn't doing much, but they
So
had
hold
a
up, hold up, hold
ridiculous
up. I just got to cut you off
contract.
here. He wasn't
He
doing
t-
much in terms of the international and I
International,
guess team accolades because winning trophies is a team, whatever.
yeah,
But
okay.
Messi as an individual player was doing more than any other player out there. So I just need to clarify that.
No, he already said Messi is Jesus.
Yeah, fair
like,
enough.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. Okay.
So, but my point is that, is that they put him on I forgot the exact number, but Messi came out publicly and said he would take his contract and cut it in half, and that still didn't solve Barcelona's problem.
So Kyle, are you aware?
That's how big of a problem.
How horrible and stupid Bartomeu was. Everything that Barcelona is going through right now can basically be pointed back to Bartomeu and his financial decisions and the way he ran the club. Because Joan Laporta, who's in charge now, when he was in charge the first time, they had no issues. Really.
Yeah.
They didn't have very many issues. And then Bartomeu comes along and
fucked the
club. Fucked the club. He took the money and ran.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the Gavi situation is very difficult to touch upon because of these issues.
And as a fan, right? Because if it happened to Arsenal or other clubs that I like, I'm not. I hate the whole Barcelona Real Madrid conversation, but I feel for Barcelona fans because of what previous regimes have done. Right? We've seen it. We've seen it with Manchester United. We've seen it with Arsenal. There's a handful of other clubs, right, that have had terrible regimes, or ownership issues. So I feel for them. Do I really feel bad for them? No, because how far are they up right now in La Liga?
Yeah.
10 points? 12?
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever. Move on.
Yeah. So I think that's a perfect because Kyle just said it. We're gonna go through our two of our most unforgettable moments in our fandom, in our history of this amazing sport. Kyle, would you like to go first?
Let's do 1-1-1. So
yeah, we're gonna
Kyle
go
starts,
Kyle.
Brian goes 1, then I'll do 1, and then we'll do it snake draft.
Okay.
So I'll do 2, and then Kyle will finish us off.
Okay, I like it. All right, so I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go a little bit off the cusp here. I'm gonna go with the one and only Rene Higuaita's scorpion save. The Colombian
Let's fucking go.
hair
That's
god
fucking fire.
with
I
the
love
scorpion
that.
That's awesome.
save.
That's awesome.
Right. I believe he was known for his flair.
Right, so I'm not gonna lie. The first time I saw that clip, I straight up thought it was like a clip taken out of Shaolin Soccer.
Yeah, I thought it was fake at first.
That's how crazy of a moment that was. Like I thought that was a moment out of the movie Shaolin Soccer, and to know that that's real. And I mean, I'm not finding out that that's real now. Obviously, like I've known for a while, but that shit's crazy.
Shout out to Choa.
I think it's even more interesting too that he had the testicular fortitude to do it against England. So
did you just describe having massive balls as testicular fortitude? That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So I think he, I you say what you want about the player, but it's like one of those like, what were you thinking? Oh, okay, yeah, I would do that too. And this like, and it's just because you see it and you're just like, what the hell? And you kind of want to know about the whole thing about like what his manager said to him about the, you guys remember the whole the Mario Balotelli when he tried to do the backheel goal and he like within 10 minutes and the coach took him off the field for LA, it was Galaxy, I think. Yeah.
I mean, if you missed that scorpion kick save, I feel like you never play again.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's the whole what's his name? It's the whole Andres Escobar,
Yeah.
right? When he had the own goal and he got murked after there. Yeah, he got killed. Um, it's the whole thing. You gotta imagine the manager is like, Renee, come here, come here. What are you doing?
You also have to imagine the manager going, that shit was crazy. That was insane. Don't ever fucking do it again.
Yeah.
Right. It's like the Maverick and Goose kind of like it's a Maverick moment, but on the Goose's side, it's like, hey man, we gotta stop doing that stuff. Yeah, it's 100%. That's mine. It's the Colombian's legendary keeper, Rene. I'm pretty sure I'm saying this right. Higuajita.
Okay.
The
Okay.
scorpion save.
So I have one positive one and one negative one. And I'm gonna start with the negative one.
Okay.
2014. The slip.
I knew exactly where you were going.
Oh,
I mean, in terms of unforgettable, iconic moments, Steven Gerrard slipping against Chelsea it's a career defining moment for him. It's a kind of like era defining moment for Liverpool. And it is a moment where a player who could have been considered or still is kind of in the conversation as one of the best Premier League midfielders of all time. The knock on him is he never won the Premier League. If he doesn't slip right there, he probably has a Premier League title. It changes everything for him. It changes everything for Liverpool. Us winning. I have a different flag up next to me. Us winning the year that we won becomes a little less of a big deal because we would have had that year. But I don't know. That is something that in terms of all of the craziness, all of the whatever, like I put that up there with Billy Buckner letting the ball go through his legs in the World Series. It's one of those moments where it's like, how did that happen? What happened? Like this was supposed to be fun, and I don't know why I did this to myself, but like,
Yeah.
that's just
I'll
that.
take the reins so that you stop hating yourself real quick.
Okay, but it's iconic and it's unforgettable for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to just give a quick shout. Balotelli was the one who scored like the goal where he stopped it on the line and then did the little headbutt, right? Yeah, that
Yep,
you made
yep.
me think of Balotelli, and that just stuck in my head.
Honorable mention: Chicharito scoring off his face.
That's an unforgettable moment.
Ooh, ooh.
Not actually one of them, but just honorable mention because that shit was funny as fuck.
Wait. Peter Crouch when he did that bicycle, that was hilarious because the dude's 6'5".
Okay, Carl, but go through your moments.
All right. So my two actual moments, because we were mentioning La Liga, actually both are from Real Madrid, and it's a bit bizarre to actually have two moments from the same side. But one of my favorite players ever, and then one of the most iconic moments within football ever. I'll start off with the iconic moment. That Roberto Carlos free kick.
That
Like
was for
what?
Brazil.
You're talking about the banana
Yeah,
goal?
but what I'm talking about
Brazil.
is like he was a Real Madrid player at the time,
Okay.
and he did play for Brazil in that World Cup. But
The most
no one
ridiculous
can.
shot I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, that curve on that shot, like
The
people are like
curve,
bending
the
like
power.
Beckham, and like just look at that free kick, and you'll realize that there's different realms to this. That it didn't make sense.
That kind of power, that kind of movement outside of the foot.
That is just a thing of beauty.
I could
So
watch that goal over and over. So that's a phenomenal pick.
yeah, so that was one of my reasons.
That's
Um
yeah.
Are you
That
watching
was
it, Kyle?
just no. I mean, I know
Yeah,
what he's talking about, and the fact that we can talk about these moments and that we all so far know what each of
Yeah.
these moments are, I think it just solidifies to our pre-show conversation of what iconic
True.
moments mean. Rather, right? I know my iconic moment's different from yours. However, we all know what
Exactly.
these
Mm-hmm.
each meanings,
Um,
are, right? And that
That goal
goal
was
Yeah,
was
exactly.
stupid. That
It
goal
was just
was
stupid.
stupid. It's the best shot I've ever seen, and it's the best shot I think I'll
That's
ever
the
will see.
that's the appropriate headline. Roberto Carlos, iconic goal.
Stupid with
Like just
multiple O's.
what?
all right.
Yeah.
So
Stupid.
originally I was gonna say the Roberto Carlos no matter what.
Are you,
I'll go for my second one and we'll do it Snake. Yeah.
are you doing your
So
second? So
my second,
okay.
I was gonna say Haaland scoring 5 because it was the third time ever done. But I'm taking a step back and picking my favorite player, like pretty much of the decade,
The bike.
Gareth Bale.
The bike.
No. When he ran
Ugh.
around
Oh.
Jordi Alba
Yup.
and made it look like Jordi
Yup.
Alba didn't have legs when he was considered the fastest player on that side of the field. And then Bale was like, please hold my beer. So for those of you who don't know, Gareth Bale made the most obscene run. I'm pretty sure it was his debut year at Real Madrid.
He
And
did the nastiest bridge you'll ever see.
yes, without a doubt, the nastiest. And to this day, Gareth
This is
Bale.
the 40-yard through ball to himself,
Yes,
right?
yes. Yeah.
I mean,
there's no other way to describe it. He literally makes Jordi Alba, who like in terms of FIFA and shit, like he was always like one of the fastest players no matter what. Like in terms of real life, he was one of the fastest players ever. Gareth Bale made him look like he was
fastest
standing
players ever is
still.
a stretch, but I know what you mean.
Within our decade, like he's one of those quicksters where it was like
Yeah.
he was always in the conversation for one of the fastest of our time.
Yeah, I mean,
Is that the one? Is that the one
yup,
where
and he
smoked him on the
ran out
wing
of bounds.
and
Yep.
and then he scored? Yeah.
That
Okay.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
that is one of the
Yeah, I
most
remember that. Yeah. I'm not a
unbelievable.
Gareth Bale. I'm not a Gareth Bale fan, strictly because of the hair bun. I'm not a hair bun fan. It's one of the reasons why I don't respect Haaland. Because of the hair bun.
I respect this. Kyle respects him as a
That's the only
player, but he
reason.
doesn't respect him as a person because of the man bun.
Yeah,
I'm dead.
because the man bun. Yep. Yeah. So, so, yeah, and he's he didn't have the greatest of few years, and he
Yes.
definitely fell off the bat, or towards the
Especially
end of his
golf over
reign,
Madrid
so
and
to
all that
speak, but-
bullshit.
Wales,
Like,
golf, Madrid.
Yeah.
But that goal,
Yeah,
that
but
goal.
that I think it was one of those things where like you're just
When
you just
you
like
a goal is insane when you score a
you just-
bicycle kick in the Champions League final, and it might not be the best goal that you've scored for your club.
yeah.
yeah, that's stupid.
That's also
Yeah.
stupid.
That's stupid.
So I'm gonna before we get to Kyle to finish this off, I'm gonna turn sadness into elation. I think Carl knows where this is going because this is a little bit
Fuck
of
you,
recency
Brian.
This is oh yeah.
Are you doing?
Oh
is
yeah.
this the
Sunday?
Is it?
No. This
Is
is
this the
Sunday,
Champions
March
League?
5th, 2023.
Oh.
Cody Gakpo, Darwin Nunez, Cody Gakpo, Mohamed Salah,
Oh.
Darwin Nunez, Mohamed Salah, Roberto Firmino, 7-0, Liverpool over United. This is, by the way, the second time that Carl has walked away doing this. Whenever I bring this up, we ended an episode early. And I mean, like I said earlier, I love triggering Carl. I mean, Liverpool are having a down season, and you get
Bournemouth.
say what you want. I mean,
I know. I can't say anything. Shut up.
you can't. I mean, even if we don't make top 4, it's just one of those things where you beat your rival so bad that it's the worst loss basically in the history of their club.
It is the worst loss in terms of our club.
With two. What the kicker for me is, two players who had braces were players that Manchester United fans thought that they were getting. I mean, we talked about this. Carl was so certain that Cody Gakpo, he was going to be a Manchester United player. Then when I was at the gym and we saw that he was going to Liverpool, we were both shook. We were both shocked. And our outside of the shooketh and the shocked, the feelings were totally different. Carl was devastated and I was like, what? Oh my God, that's amazing. But 7-0. I'm going to remember March 5th, 2023 for a very long time, because counting to 7 in English is now again Gakpo, Darwin, Gakpo, Mo, Darwin, Mo, Bobby.
You can count to 5 in Spanish and
okay.
Yeah, it's still not the same. God damn it, shut the fuck up.
We were supposed to lose to Madrid. That was not supposed to happen. And it's 7 goals. And 7 is a number that's very hold on. 7 is a number that's very happily associated with Manchester United, with Ronaldo and with George Best and with David Beckham and with a bunch of other players who've worn 7, and we ruined it for you.
I still got my Cantona jersey. I don't give a fuck.
All right, I'm good. 7-0.
Yo, play me in FIFA. Fuck you. All right, keep it going, Kyle.
This has got to be the most iconic, if not the iconic moments. I think I said that wrong, but
the moment of all time.
In the moment of iconic moments. It is probably one of the best counterattacks and transitions you'll ever see, ever in the history of the game. I'm building this up.
I think I know what you're about to say.
Arsenal against Norwich, team goal. That's the first thing I thought of.
No, not even close. No, not even close. So I'm going with. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up. But in 2013. There was a playoff game between Watford and Leicester City, right? The playoff in the championship is known as the most valuable game in the world, because it goes, promotion and who stays in the second league and so on and so forth. And there's TV rights to play at Wembley, I think, or at least they do now. It's all sorts of stuff, right? If you don't know what I'm talking about, this is the iconic Troy Deeney goal off the counterattack.
Okay.
If you can share it, screen share it, and pull it up, it is.
I don't know if I can screen share it, but I definitely
right?
can edit it in.
So Lockhart gets fouled on a penalty, and by the way, this is never a penalty. You just watch his arms and how he just flails out. Well, it's the double miss on the penalty, right? That he misses, right, by former Arsenal player Manuel Almunia, right? The distribution, the counterattack into the goal, and Deeney scores and jumps into the fans. It is absolutely berserk, is the word. Like, if you watch the.
I'm watching it.
Such a
Yeah.
Have you ever seen it?
I have. I haven't watched this clip in so long, but I've seen it.
The recreation of this is, I've seen it with dogs. I've seen it with kids. It's just, Hawk Deeney!
Yeah, I was like, I was 14 when this happened.
I love it.
I was in 8th grade.
I actually do remember this, because this is one of the first seasons I started fully watching the Prem.
Yeah, I remember this. Hold on, I very much need to put the sound up for this. So give me.
No, literally, I thought, honestly, when you were talking about it,
I think you can share it.
I thought you were talking about. Do you know the Ajax goal in the Champions League? like from a couple years ago, that buildup where it's like, oh yeah, this is art in motion.
Is that the one with the Ajax team the following
Yes.
season got picked apart with all their
When De Ligt left, when Frankie left,
trades
when
and
all these
whatever?
people left the side,
When everyone except for Tadic left. Oh, I remember this clip even more vividly now, watching all the freaking fans go on the field.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I think if you take down your background, you could share it.
yeah, I was just gonna edit it in, but yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Beautiful.
trust me, it's gonna make its way into the episode, 100%, 100%.
Knockout takes, Almunia saves, knockout follows in, Almunia saves again. Absolutely astonishing. Now here come Watford. Forestieri. Here's Hogg. Deeney! Do not scratch your eyes. You are really seeing the most extraordinary finish here.
So me as a fan, this we talk about, sports, right? We kind of get on a little more personal level, right? But you talk about sports, soccer fans are probably the most emotional fans out there, right? Because you see
Football
it
is more than a sport.
This is our welcome.
It's
to
a way
Wrexham.
of life.
Exactly. It's religion. It's life,
you're wearing
right?
you're
I
wearing a
always give the
Celtic
reference
jersey.
to welcome to
Part of
Wrexham.
why Celtic and Rangers hate each other so much is it's more than just the game. It's geography. It's religion. It's so much deeper than just
a lot of
like
people,
the hatred that like the Yankees and the Red Sox have for each other, or like the Giants and the Cowboys. Like people don't understand that football is life in this part of the world.
Yeah, and I'm a Celtic fan, right? And the whole reason why this jersey alone is iconic, right? But Celtic won, what was it, 13 straight titles, something like that, before Rangers won. Was it 2 years ago? The other year, and right in the Old Firm Derby, it's Celtic versus Rangers, Protestants versus Catholics, whatever. I don't care about any of that. I just love the jersey because the jersey's iconic, right? But this is the amount of just sheer passion and just raw energy that, and this was at the end of the game too, and all of a sudden everyone finds that third, fourth
gear,
you know gear. Yeah, and I absolutely and when I coach, I do my best to share moments like this, because you think you're down and out. Yeah, dude, a double keeper save into a counterattack.
So one of the craziest things about this is also that what was this, 2013 you said? Leicester City won the Premier League 3 years after this.
Championship semi-playoff.
Leicester City won the Premier League 3 years after this. That's insane.
Yeah.
I just actually continue talking about this before I say what I was going to say if I had gone happy for the first one. But yeah.
Yeah, it's just I think that it's moments like this that make me appreciate being a soccer fan more than other
without a doubt.
So.
Yeah. So had I not gone sad for the first one, I think we all know that the other one for me would have been corner taken quickly. Yeah. So the 3-0 comeback against AC Milan is definitely up there, but I was 6. Yeah. Like I don't have. It's an iconic moment for sure, but I don't have the same kind of appreciation for it because of how young I was. So it's iconic in the sense of the moment, but for me, I didn't really get to feel that. So in terms of positive, it's 7-0. Fuck you, Carl. And it's corner taken quickly.
I want to say one more real quick. Tony
I think-
Cruz, when he banged it in for Germany with
Against
zero
Sweden.
angle.
Against
Yeah.
Sweden. Another
Yeah.
stupid shot.
That free kick, ridiculous. So if you couldn't tell, I like free kicks.
Mm-hmm.
I think if my honorary, and we can do another episode. My honorary is going to be the 7-1 thrashing that Germany gave Brazil in the World
Carl and I
Cup.
play Rocket League all the time. We beat.
And they
Oh,
were the
yeah.
host.
So Carl and I play Rocket League.
I think.
And when we beat people 7-1, we asked them if they speak Portuguese because they're on a one-way trip to Brazil.
I think, like, it's just. I think if I remember the stat correctly, I think it was 3-0 at 15 minutes.
All right, wait. Before we
just-
keep on going, I swear
it
I
was
gotta
just-
give
yeah,
like Brazil like a little bit of like leeway there. Neymar was out, their best player in was Oscar.
Okay, you still lost 7-1 at home. Neymar being out's an excuse to lose, like, let's say 3-1, 3-0.
That's true. Yeah, obviously.
7-1?
And they
So-
did have two of the best center backs in the world, Thiago Silva
Yeah.
and David Luiz.
Yeah. So I was at a college recruitment camp for that, like during that game. And my current roommate who I live with now was my roommate. I mean, we've been like best friends for like 10 years. So he was my roommate there, and the entire camp packed into the Colgate, one of the Colgate auditoriums to watch this game. And we were all gone at halftime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched all of it because I was rooting for Germany that World Cup.
Yo, so Kyle, before we get out of here, I have one question that I would like to ask you that we asked Chad, and I want to see if you can give the answer that I would give and that Carl has been turned to give. If you could have any player take a free kick for you, and not in terms of what you got to think consistency here, because one off you have that Roberto Carlos free kick, but think of a player who short, long, angled, power, taking a free kick. Who would you put on that ball?
So first, there's two that come to mind. First one that comes to mind would be Ozil.
Ooh.
Well, I like that shout.
But yeah, first one that comes to mind would be Ozil, whatever. But we're talking, if you want to talk current form.
This
and
doesn't have
there's
to be
another-
current.
we talked
James
about,
Ward, I know
all
you're
time.
saying James Ward-Prowse. We're talking all time.
Yeah.
James Ward.
Yeah, everyone's saying
James Ward-Prowse. Yeah.
So, do you want to know? So, Carl and I talked about this in the car on the way to Ithaca, and we've brought this into multiple shows now, and it's a question I like to ask because my answer is the guy who has the most free kick goals ever. Nope.
Beckham,
Think of the French league. Nope.
Messi.
Played
Think
for Lyon.
Leon. Juninho.
Okay.
So if you haven't seen his
Okay,
free
have to
kicks,
look
look
that
up
up.
his free kicks. He has the most direct free kick goals scored of all time. He has scored numerous 30-yarders, 40-yarders, swerve, knuckle, power, finesse. I just wanted to see what your thought was on that question. Yeah.
So we didn't do that on my show, but if you guys would indulge me in
Okay.
doing our game or what we do on our show, it's either or, right? I'm gonna give you two options, if not three, and you have to pick
Hit it.
one or the other. Okay. All right. So, would you rather play currently in the San Siro or the Bernabeu?
I went to the San Siro, because I wanted to touch the pitch and they didn't let me, and I was really pissed.
My answer is the Bernabeu because
my answer is the Bernabeu. But
my favorite goalkeeper of my life played for Real Madrid recently. And I am a keeper, so just to be able to stand in the box where he was. Yeah, so weirdly enough, as a Liverpool fan, my favorite keeper is the history of Madrid and whatever, but you're talking about two crazy historic stadiums and all that, so it kind of, for me, comes down to the Keylor Navas factor.
He just wants to be where Navas was. So
yeah. So yeah, so again, I'm not a Spanish fan, but I think that just what the San Siro represents, one, to AC Milan, two, to actually Italy and football in general. I think, and there is a bias there because I grew up watching. Obviously, I grew up watching,
yeah.
AC Milan play when I was a kid. And this, like, it's just I don't know. I just think it's a marveling,
Without a doubt.
engineering genius that the San Siro was. It's kind of like the modern day, when I would say art, like, if you're familiar with baseball, right? The Astrodome is considered, like, one of the wonders of the world. And
Bro,
that's
I
what I
went
consider
there.
the San
I
Siro.
agree.
So, it's just, it's just wild. Okay, so my next one.
If I could pick anyone, though, I'm playing in Dortmund under the fucking yellow wall. And
if I had a choice, I'm playing at Anfield. I'm playing at Anfield on a European night with everything on the line.
I of course want Old Trafford,
Wow.
but like if we're really like breaking it down to,
I know,
like,
but Carl, European nights at Anfield is a thing.
I know, but like I just want to be under the yellow wall and be on the side of the yellow wall.
Dortmund would be
Yeah.
number one for sure. Like,
Yeah.
for me, I agree. The yellow wall, and Tyler, who's my co-host, is a huge Dortmund fan, and one of these days we'll go there. And him and I have always said we'll go together. And, like, I would go to
without a
Dortmund
doubt.
in a heartbeat.
Same.
Like, it's not even fair for me. So, in their right. So, who would you rather have?
Okay.
Right? Would you rather have current Kevin De Bruyne or in their prime Kaká? Wow,
that was
don't even think about it.
So the only reason Ballon d'Or, and he deserved to win the Ballon d'Or and team success and everything.
Fair.
KDB has never been in that same like, he's always in the conversation for the Ballon d'Or, but it's not the same way that Kaká was, and the way that Kaká brought his team that far.
I just think I think the deciding factor for me is current KDB versus prime Kaká. It's a no-brainer. It's an absolute no-brainer. Prime versus prime. I think about it, but I still probably go Kaká. But
yeah, I would go AC Milan Kaká.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, man.
The man was built different. Like, if we're talking about
playing with,
you have Ronaldinho, you have Zlatan, you have all these different players. Like, you can go on and literally make an entire list of the fucking teams that Kaká played with, and it is on one.
I mean, you think about it, just on AC Milan alone, dude, look at this. This is stupid. This is absolutely just stupid. The amount of the teammates that
those AC Milan sides were nuts.
like we're talking about like not even fair. Like not even fair. Like the this is just off the top of the list here, right? He had Cafu. He had Maldini. Freaking Maldini. He had Nesta, right? He had one of my favorite players of all time, Clarence
Yep.
Seedorf, right? He had Seedorf. Like, it's not
No,
even
not at
fair.
all. Not at all.
It's not
Literally
even fair.
the best center back pairing of a generation. And Maldini was playing left back in that situation. You look and you literally have Andre Pirlo, who like was debatably in his prime. You have Seedorf. You have Kaká running that shit. You have Ronaldo, R9 Ronaldo. Like,
Man played for fucking everyone.
you had Inzaghi fucking playing with Ronaldo.
Yeah, that was just. I'm a huge Inzaghi fan. Filippo Inzaghi rather than his brother. But it's just. I mean, it's just so. It's just. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna end it right there. Freaking Gattuso, the original
Gonna
brute
knock
Literally,
himself,
man's
Gattuso.
about to fucking break your legs.
Yep. So we're nearing on an hour and a half. So before we get out of here, I was gonna save this for after the show, but I do kind of like to end on something that's not always footy related, just for shits. And storybook thing happened tonight in the World Baseball Classic while we were recording. Shohei Ohtani struck out Mike Trout to end the World Baseball Classic.
Damn, that's actually pretty cool.
So Japan won.
So Japan won, and the best baseball player in the world struck out the other best baseball player in the world and their teammates.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck about baseball, but that's actually pretty cool.
But yeah, I
think that's even it's what's even cool. What's better about that is that we talked about on our show that Japan is one of those, you can't count out the blue
Ever.
samurai of Japan, right? In the game of footy,
Blue
right?
Lock.
Japan always shows up. They always put up a
Blue
fight.
Lock's a fire show, by the way.
They have great
Yeah, I
teams,
gotta watch it.
right? And boom, baseball. Japan has some solid
they're
baseball
nasty.
players too.
Carl, send me the damn Crunchyroll.
Fine, fuck you.
You've been saying you're gonna give me the login for like 2 years, bro. But that's kind of all we got. So I just want to give a huge thank you to Kyle for coming on the show. You're awesome. I love your
This was fun
brand. I
as
love
fuck.
your show.
Oh, thanks, man.
I'd love to come back on your show with Carl to get everybody to meet him.
Yes.
I think Carl and Kenny's conversations would be absolutely hysterical. You got to come back on here with Kenny. You have to come back on here with Tyler.
Yeah.
But go check out everything that Kyle has, his 90 brand, Inside the 90 podcast.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Check out the kit episode, the jerseys episode. It's
We
pretty
had a
good.
great
We had
time.
a good time. The editing's a little funky because we
You couldn't hear Kenny half the time.
But yeah, it's just it's really good, and we covered a lot of stuff. I covered a lot of stories. Like I would love to hear Carl's story about when he went to the San Siro. That's what I like
Easily.
to talk about in my stuff. I have a guy that I brought onto the show, and he was at the Emirates
Holy
during a bomb threat. Yeah. So, and he got stuck in the locker room during a bomb threat, and I was like, "What? You never hear these stories." And so, yeah, thanks for having me come on, and I had a blast. And
Yeah, we
love
got
to do it again.
You got to meet Chad too, so you're definitely coming back on again. But thank you guys for tuning in. We'll catch you guys next week. Peace.
Love. Peace.